Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. I have a little video that I pulled up from the VA on the claims process, and I wanted to share it with you and kind of add a little bit to it, if you will, to make sure that people understand the process and how you can ensure that you have a successful claim along the way. Now, with that, before we jump into it, I want to throw on a special thank you to Ray Sandinato. Ray, thank you so much for the super comment, super chat, Ray. I really do appreciate your support very much. Ray Sandinato 2462. Thanks for your support. All right, so I found this video from the VA, and it's a very simple video, but I did want to just kind of talk about it because they say some things, and sometimes people aren't really sure exactly where to go. So I'm gonna do the little pause thing, and when they say something, I'm gonna kind of dive into it a little bit, then move on. All right, so here we go on now. Let's go.
VA disability compensation provides tax-free monthly payments to eligible veterans with an illness or injury that was caused by or got worse because of their active military service.
So that first piece is important, right? So a lot of people, and I get it, most of you watching, you understand because you've already filed claims and you've watched a bunch of videos from me, from others, and that's great. But let's remember that there's a whole set of other veterans out there that are brand new to this or have no clue where to even start. So the first thing here is if your condition, if you have a diagnosed condition, if your condition either manifested during your service or was caused by your service, or if it got worse because of your service, is really what we're looking at. Now, most people just think the military had to cause this problem, and that's not the case. So anything that you could trace back to your time in service, you absolutely need to be looking at. All right, let's go on a little more.
If you want to file a claim for disability compensation, there are a few steps to take. First, we recommend you notify us of your intent to file, which can be done online, by phone, in person, or by mail.
All right, intent to file is the most important thing you can do up front. It does two things for you. One, it preserves your date for your claim. It locks in the rating schedules that are at that time period. And keep in mind, rating schedules are changing. And we're anticipating August at this point for those rating schedules to be changed. If for some reason they change, you have them, for the worse, you have today's date locked in with your intent to file. That's one thing it does. And it also could give you back pay back to that date. In addition, it takes the pressure off, right? When people get ready to file a claim, they decide that they're going to go ahead and I'm going to do my VA disability claim. All of a sudden, it's the most urgent thing, and you want to get it done as fast as possible because you don't want to waste any more time. You've locked in your date. You are good to go. Now, your focus needs to be on documenting your claim appropriately. So the intent to file does two things, takes the pressure off, and it locks in that date. They're going to go ahead and talk about it a little bit more here, and then we'll move on.
This notice may secure an earlier start date for any payments you may be eligible to receive. After you notify us, you'll have 1 year to complete and file your claim. Next, begin gathering up any evidence you want.
Now, real quick, on the intent to file, it's a very easy form. Again, they said you could do it by making a phone call. I mean, you can call the VA. It's that easy, and tell them that you want to file an intent to file. If you do a paper copy one, there's really everything you should be able to answer. And there's really only one little tricky spot for somebody who's brand new at this. There's one spot where it says, what is this intent to file for? Is it for VA pension or VA disability compensation? It's going to be compensation, right? In fact, it's just going to say compensation. I believe it doesn't even say disability. It just says compensation, pension, or compensation. So VA disability compensation would be the check mark for compensation. You do not need to list out every condition you're going to be filing for. That's the beauty of this. So you can just say compensation, and now you can really start working on figuring out what you're going to file for. That's also a very important aspect. So now we're talking about evidence, that you're going to begin gathering up your evidence to support your claim. We'll let them talk about that for a minute, then we'll jump back in.
Want to submit in support of your claim. VA will assist in gathering your medical records from VA medical centers and may also be able to help you get records from non-VA care providers you identify. But you can also choose to submit documents such as private medical records, private hospital records, and supporting statements that tell us more about your claim condition, how and when it happened, or how it got worse.
So here's an important piece, I think. Do your own due diligence and package up your file completely yourself. One, it does two things. Well, one, it does two. An important aspect of that is it does two things for you. One, it familiarizes yourself re-engaging with your condition as you're putting this documentation together, so that way you will be ready if you have a C&P exam. You know what's going in your file, you know what you're filing, and you know what you're presenting from an evidence basis. Now, the other thing that it does for you is it allows you to control what the VA receives. So you could say, hey, VA, go ahead and reach out to my doctor and get anything you need. And then they get everything from that doctor, and some of the things they may not need, right? And you may not want them to have. So this gives you the opportunity to go through your paperwork and really provide the VA with the information that you want them to have that supports your claim. Now, remember, your VA disability claim for compensation is going to be needing medical evidence. You must prove that you have the condition. So you need that proof that you're diagnosed for it, that you've been receiving treatment, that you've been receiving prescriptions for that condition, that type of stuff. You want to get all of that. I suggest the length of time that you've been receiving care for that in there is also important. Sometimes you're going to hear things like Nexus Letter, and they don't talk about this in here, but you have to prove from an evidence base medically that your condition is tied to your time in service. Sometimes we don't have definitive hard proof that our condition manifested during our time in service as a result of our time in service or got worse because of our time in service. We didn't go to the doctor. We didn't do any of that while we were in service. It wasn't until after that we started really getting treatment. We just rubbed dirt on it and took some Motrin and moved on. So you would most likely need a Nexus letter from your doctor. You can work with your doctor and have them complete that Nexus letter for you. You can have them complete a DBQ, a disability questionnaire, which is a VA public-facing form currently. If your doctor can't or won't or doesn't utilize AME, American Medical Experts, this is what they do. They help provide medical evidence from board-certified doctors for disability claim purposes. So they understand the legalese that's tied all around this stuff. They can outline everything for you. Free consultation. Their information will be in the description and in the comments. All right, so let's go on here and see what else they have to say.
You don't have to submit evidence, but VA may need to schedule a claim exam so we can learn more about your condition. Once you're ready, you can file your claim in one of 5 ways: online, by mail, in person, by fax, or with the help of a trained, accredited professional.
Now, I always, recommend the working with an accredited representative. That is the probably preferred way, I think, and it gives you a second set of eyes on everything that you're submitting. And they also have access to the VA's internal system for claims called VBMS, which is also important.
After you filed, you don't need to do anything unless we ask for more information. But if we schedule exams for you, be sure not to miss them. If you have any questions along the way, you can always call us at 1-800-827-1000 or visit va.gov/disability/how-to-file-claim.
All right, so that is it. What are your, obviously I broke it up a lot there, but what are your thoughts on the VA's video on how to file a claim? To me, it's obviously the highest level overview that you could possibly do with not a lot of explanation, right? So evidence is a very wide open word to use. I like to explain the process like this. Look, you're going to file an intent to file. That gives you your 12-month time frame to get all of your documentation together, all of your evidence. You want to do a few things. You're going to have to provide evidence of your time in service. Okay, DD-214. That DD-214 has dates on it: entry date, exit date. The entry date and exit date create a window of opportunity. Hey, this is when I was in. The next thing you're going to need is that diagnosis. A diagnosed condition is needed. You must have a condition to file for disability compensation. That condition must be chronic in nature or have some sort of residual kind of effects. The next one is the nexus, the link. Nexus is link between your diagnosed condition and your time in service. Now, the great piece here is that if you got diagnosed during your time in service, that window of opportunity, if you got diagnosed in the middle of that, that in itself creates the nexus. Look, I have my diagnosis from when I was in. The next kind of way that you can look at this is you complained. Maybe there was a self-assessment and you complained about signs, symptoms, a certain condition. Maybe you complained about, a sore elbow or a back condition or migraines. You checked a box. At least that gives you a footing. Let's say you get diagnosed outside of your time in service. Now you need to kind of build that bridge back to your time in service, and you do that with a Nexus letter. So that Nexus letter from your doctor with all the rationale around why they believe that your condition manifested during your time in service. They could utilize the self-assessments that you had where you didn't really have a diagnosis, but at least you mentioned some things regarding that condition. They can tie all that together for you, along with your own personal statement and statements from people that knew you while you were in. All create evidence, either medical or lay evidence, to help you get your claim awarded. Again, if your doctor can't, won't, or doesn't, reach out to AME. Their information's in the description as well as in the comments for you. So with that, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.